Hi, this is Gary with Aldan American, and today I want to introduce and show you the SPC upper and lower control arms along with our coilover kit. This is a product we're offering on our website, so check it out at aldanamerican.com. What is included with this kit is upper control arm, lower control arm, coilovers. Now on the coilovers, they can be single adjustable or double adjustable depending on which kit. Also on the springs, we have big block and small block. Now this happens to be an A-body 68 to 72 kit, but we have a similar kit for the 64 to 67 A-bodies. We also do the Camaros from 67 to 69 and also 70 to 81. So let me show you what comes in the kit. This particular one is a front-only kit, so there's no rear shocks or rear coilovers. So you get your front shocks, your coilover springs, and so on the coilover spring it has a 2.5-inch ID that sits on the lower spring seat, and then it fits in your stock upper pocket. Real nice, easy to install kit. Now this also includes the thrust bearings and the spanner wrench. The SPC arms in this kit includes a lower spring seat that comes with the arms, and that's so you can run a stock style coil spring. We also have the spacers that go in the lower control arm. So these go between the T-bar and the control arm, and on the SPC arm you can either use one or two depending on the ride height you're trying to achieve. So the arm is designed with an already 1-inch drop built into it. So if you're running drop spindles or anything else lowering kits, we have to be aware that that does have drop built into the arm. Now the upper arms, what makes them really unique is the adjustment. So by making this shorter or longer is how you're going to adjust your camber and your caster. There's an adjuster on the front side and the back side. This system does not use shims between the cross shaft and the frame. So the ball joint is taller, so it improves your roll center. Now, the bushings that comes in the upper arm is the rubber bushing. So if you do want to go with the Delrin bushing, we have to go with the optional upgrade. And so this is how you'll receive it, and it also includes a washer so that you can load the one side. You have a washer that comes with the original setup, and then it has a grease fitting so that you can grease your Delrin bushing. Now the lowers already have a Delrin bushing installed, and they include the sleeves that you'll have to grease and put in when you assemble them. The SPC control arm does not include a lower bump stop. So on some of the Aldan American kits, we do include the bump stop. So when you're ordering them, be sure to ask if the bump stops are included. So when you install them, there's this tube nut that is included. So the tube nut goes through this sleeve that's in the lower control arm, and you remove the original nut and washer, and then the tube nut, and that's how you install them, and that's how you tighten them down to fix them to your lower A-arm. Now that we've talked about what comes with the arms, what's optional, what you may have to change if you want to do the Delrin bushing, the bump stop, all of that stuff. But the big advantage of this arm is not only does it give you 1 inch of lowering in the front by just installing the arm, whether you're using a stock coil spring or the Aldan American coilover kit, but also it improves the geometry. So the lower A-arm has caster built into it, so you get additional positive caster, so you have better stability, runs down the highway nice and straight, returns on center after you make a turn. The uppers, you can also add additional caster in it by making adjustments with the adjusters. With the SPC control arms, you can take your car to an alignment shop after you have everything installed. You can put a nice performance alignment. I typically like to try to get around 5 degrees positive caster. I like to put about a 1/4 degree negative camber in it. And what's really nice there is it's a nice cruise night car that you're going to drive every day. Not necessarily autocross. If you're autocrossing, you can put additional negative camber into it. For more information about this kit and other Aldan American products, check us out at aldanamerican.com. So follow along as we install this on my 1969 Chevelle. This has been a long-term project of mine. I've had it since 1984. As you can see, it's still not finished, but we're going to go one step closer to finishing it with some new SPC control arms. So the first thing we're going to do is take the sway bars off. We're going to take our tie rod end off, our brake caliper off, and then we're going to take the upper and lower ball joints. We're going to remove the complete spindle brake assembly. It just makes it a lot easier to work and pull everything apart and put everything back on. And plus, because we're taking the upper and lower A-arms off, we do need to take the ball joints loose anyways. Keep everything together, put it there. So when we have everything laid out, one of the questions that kind of comes up is, how do I know which one is left and which is right? So on this particular one, you can always tell that the bump stop goes to the front. So on the lower arm, make sure your bump stop is to the front side, and that'll be a good indicator of which is left and right. Now on the upper, as you can kind of see the shape of the arm, the ball joint, how it's set up, we just kind of want to duplicate that side to side so that they do look the same. And that'll give us a good indication of which one is left and right. So we're going to do the bump stops after we do the coilover installation, but I just wanted to kind of show you this because it's a little unique. So you've got the little tang here that fits in this little oval shape here, and then you've got this long hole. So you're going to set that in there like that. That sets like that. Then the tube nut goes through, and then you tighten it up. And that's how you set up your bump stops on the lowers. Now, we're also going to use the Delrin bushings on our uppers. So these are the Delrin bushings. So what we're going to do is, first thing, there's the pinch bolt. So we're going to loosen the pinch bolt. It's not tightened very tight from the factory. We get that to come loose. Then what we're going to do is take our nuts off. This spreads apart so we can now remove the upper bushing. There's a nut and bolt that comes off. Then we're going to set our new Delrin piece on, start our nut. We're going to do the same on the opposite side. Okay, so now we're going to take and put our cross shaft in. We're going to put our other cross shaft in. We're going to put our washer on, then our locking nut. So we're ready to put this on. So we can see by cycling this arm up and down, our nut and our bolt here gets a little close to this particular brake line. It may or may not on your car, but I feel a little bit more comfortable if I flip the bolt over, so I don't have to worry about the nut and the bolt hanging down. So I'm going to take a little bit of wheel bearing grease, I'm going to put it on my sleeve, and then I'm going to put my sleeve in my bushing. I'm now going to take and torque my lower control arms down to 75 foot-pounds. Because these are Delrin bushings, we can torque them, and once they're torqued, we want to be able to make sure that the arm pivots nice and freely. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our coil spring and our shock on. So I've got our greased thrust bearing installed. I also put a little bit of anti-seize above the spring seat. So as we adjust it up, we'll draw the anti-seize into the spring seat. That way we don't have any problems with galling the threads, and it'll also make it go together much nicer along with the thrust bearings. So what I also want to do is when I put it up in here, the nipple on the bushing, we want to make sure that we're centered in the hole in the frame so that we're not rubbing the stem of the shock on the hole in the frame. Like that, like that. So the next thing I have to do is I'm going to set my ride height. So I got to put the wheels back on, put the car on the ground, see where the ride height is, adjust my coil spring to where I want it to sit. And then on my upper control arm, I'm going to have to do an eyeball alignment, get the tire fairly close to straight up and down, make it so it looks like it's centered in the wheel well, adjust my toe by eye with a tape measure across the tread, and then get it close enough so I can drive it to my alignment shop, have them align it. I'm going to put a 1/4 degree negative in it, around 5 degrees positive. We're going to see how much positive we can get in the alignment. And for more information about Aldan American and SPC Control Arms, check us out at aldanamerican.com.